For a short period in my life, I was a film student. It was a fantastic experience. My absolute favorite class was Screenwriting 101, and I have one memory that stands out over all the others. There was a particular student in the class, the type to watch foreign films with subtitles and then tell you trivia about foreign words.
Did you know that this film is called Yi Yi, which is Chinese for 1-1, because when you write that in Chinese, it's the same as writing 2, and the theme of the film is a child's perspective on things that adults take for granted.
In the class, we were learning about beat structure and the 3 acts and the hero's journey and Save the Cat, and the particular student raised his hand.
Why do I need to learn all this? These make boring, paint-by-numbers movies. I want to make artistic films. I want to break the rules.
Without missing a beat, the professor smiled.
You still have to learn the rules if you want to break them effectively.
This is one of the most deep, profound statements I have ever heard. It is so applicable to so many things. Have you ever heard of Alma Deutscher? If you haven't yet, I highly recommend this 60 Minutes interview from when she was 12 years old. As she sits at the piano, the interviewer draws a sequence of random notes out of a hat and places them in front of her. She stares at them for a moment, then plays them in order a couple of times. They sound strange together, dissonant. And then she sits silently for about a minute. Finally, she puts her hands on the keys and plays a complete original etude, based around those dissonant notes. Alma Deutscher is a musical prodigy. Well before the age of 12, she had such a firm grasp of those horribly boring chords and arpeggios, that she could take a few random notes and make them into a piece of art in a minute. She knows the rules, up, down, front, and backward. The rules are rules for a reason. The rules allowed her to turn noise into art effortlessly. Tim Minchin is an Australian comedian who also happens to be an astounding pianist. He wrote a song called F Sharp which broke the rules. He played the piano in the key of F major and sang the lyrics in the key of F sharp. It sounded terrible. But it was funny. He knew the rules and broke them to be funny. But my point isn't any of that. My point is that, in the modern era, many prominent intellectuals are like my classmate from film school, deconstructionists. Deconstructing the things we've always taken for granted is a great tool for understanding them better.
But say there is a fence or gate erected across the road. The more modern type of reformer goes gaily up to it and says, "I don't see the use of this, let us clear it away." To which the more intelligent type of reformer will do well to answer, "If you don't see the use of it, I certainly won't let you clear it away. Go away and think. Then, when you can come back and tell me that you do see the use of it, I may allow you to destroy it." G.K. Chesterton.
The things we take for granted tend to be taken for granted for a reason. If you want to start breaking the rules, you should understand the rules first. Chapter 1: Deconstructing Gender. One of the most important things that the deconstructionists have set their sights on is the incredibly diverse and variable combination of biological and socio-cultural traits we call gender. To start from the beginning, humans are a sexually dimorphic species. We reproduce by combining genetic material from 2 critically different categories of individual, called male and female. The technical distinction between male and female is that males produce small mobile gametes called sperm, while females produce large nutrient-containing gametes called eggs. For categorizing humans, we often discuss other markers like genitalia and chromosomes, and for some individuals, gametes, genitalia, and chromosomes do not line up perfectly. If you take the most left-wing statistics possible, only 98% of people are unequivocally biologically binary, while right-wing statistics say 99.98%. There may be as high as 2% of people who diverge from the binary are called intersex. The divergences this minority of individuals experience can range from Klinefelter syndrome, in which men are born with an extra X chromosome, to ovotesticular disorder, in which an individual is born with both ovarian and testicular tissues in their gonads. We can argue about the role of gender in the identity of various unique intersex individuals, but 98 to 99.98% of the time, biological sex is completely unambiguous. And despite ambiguity, even individuals with ovotesticular disorder only produce eggs or sperm, not both. All that being said, the deconstruction of gender didn't start with the intersex question. It started with the transgender question. Transgenderism is not a new phenomenon. There was a Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius Antoninus who reigned from 218 to 222 AD. According to contemporary accounts, Emperor Antoninus wore wigs and makeup and insisted on being called the Queen. Yoshizawa Ayame was a 17th-century Japanese kabuki performer, renowned for playing women on stage, as women were not allowed to perform kabuki. Unlike many onagata, actors specializing in female roles, Ayame also lived as a woman off stage. It is a fact that, regardless of unambiguous biological sex and regardless of culture, some individuals have the undeniable experience of being the gender opposite of their sex. I repeat, opposite. While the combination of biological and socio-cultural traits which compose the concept of gender is incredibly diverse and variable, being transgender inherently relies on the categories being binary, based on sex. But if gender is an incredibly diverse and variable combination of biological and socio-cultural traits, why should they be forced into binary categories? The deconstructionists have presented a new version of gender, explained by the gender unicorn or the gender-bred person. Instead of 2 categories, there are 5 spectra. First, sex, with male and female at either end and the various intersex conditions in between. Second, identity, which can be man or woman at either extreme or any combination of non-binary, fluid, or queer in between. Third, expression, which not only has the range from masculine to feminine with androgynous in the middle, but an individual can express differently as they see fit from occasion to occasion. Fourth, sexual interest, which can be heterosexual or homosexual, but also bisexual, pansexual, or asexual. And fifth, romantic interest, which can sometimes diverge from sexual interest. Some people are emotionally drawn to women with no desire for sex, some people are sexually attracted to men but would be miserable living with one. With this framework, no individual is put into a simple box, they have the tools and the opportunity to explore where they find themselves along each spectrum. Thank you for spending some time with a man with no shoes. Please like and subscribe if you got anything out of it, leave a comment if you have any thoughts worth sharing, and join me next week to reconstruct gender.